Welcome back to the News Hub here at WSJ Live. That's Mitt Romney. As if you didn't know, that's Mitt Romney. He is speaking in Fairfax, Virginia right now, campaigning up till the last minute, and it's countdown to the election. Polling day starts officially in just a few hours. Who will win? Well, it depends in large part on turnout, according to the Wall Street Journal's Jerry Seib, who joins us now from our bureau in Washington, D.C. Jerry, thanks for joining us. It's not just turnout, it's other things too, and you detail them in your column. So, Jerry, tell us about turnout, and then we'll get to the other things.
Well, there's turnout and then there's turnout. The first question is, how big is the turnout going to be? And as a general proposition, if it's bigger, that's better for President Obama. If it's smaller, that's probably better for Mitt Romney. Why? Because the enthusiasm edge all year long has been on the Republican side. And so those people who really want to vote for Mitt Romney or really want to vote against Barack Obama, they're going to show up. The question is, will the Barack Obama coalition show up in numbers anything like 2008? If they do, they're going to drive turnout up. And up above the 131 million votes that were cast in 2008, and that's good for President Obama. And within that turnout, it's going to be really important to see what's the turnout of white voters. That's the group that Mitt Romney's winning by a large margin. They made up 74% of the electorate in 2008, according to exit polls. If that number goes up, then that means Mitt Romney's probably on his way to winning. If it goes down, then certainly Barack Obama's on his way to winning, because he's going to win the non-white vote by so much. If it stays constant, that's a pretty good sign. We're in for a tight race.
And it seems that we're in for a tight race no matter what. What's happening in college towns? That's another important thing that you point to. Why is that?
Well, it really is important to see what sort of turnout there is in college towns, because that's such an important part of the Obama coalition. In poll after poll this year, the president continues to win the same kind of support among young voters 18 to 29 years old that he did in 2008, but their enthusiasm is down. If they don't turn out in big numbers, that's going to be an important factor, maybe a decisive factor in some of these swing states. So anecdotal evidence tomorrow that turnout is up, or that it hasn't gone down much at least, in college towns would be really important.
Now, Jerry, you're in quite a college town there, Washington, D.C. What are you seeing in the sense within the Beltway of whether that enthusiasm is there?
Well, look, I don't think it's as high as it was in 2008. Nobody on the Obama side thinks it's as high as 2008, and that was an exceptional year. The question is, does the Obama turnout machine still work? Does it? It's never really, by the way, been taken down over the last 5 years. It's continued to work. So, obviously people are more beleaguered than they were 4 years ago. There isn't this sense of a historic election. That doesn't mean that young voters won't turn out. I think that's a great test and a great question. Nobody actually knows the answer definitively, and the Romney and Obama camps obviously have quite different views on the answer to that question.
Okay, now Virginia, which you're next door to there, which is a beautiful, beautiful state, that matters. Why is that?
Well, it's interesting you just saw Mitt Romney in Virginia today. That tells you something. There's been a huge amount of attention paid to Ohio this year, and for good reason. No Republican has ever won the White House without winning Ohio. But I think if you look at the Electoral College math for Mitt Romney, Ohio doesn't matter unless he first wins Virginia. He has to win Virginia first, which is actually an easier state for him to win, and then move on to try to win Ohio. So I think the coalition for Mitt Romney starts with Virginia and only then moves on to other states. So the fact that he's there today tells you that they see that as an essential element, and if they don't win Virginia, it won't matter so much who wins Ohio.
Okay, now, and of course, Ohio, and not all of Ohio matters, it's key counties.
Right.
What is it special about certain counties in Ohio that matter?
Well, there are two sets of counties to look for. One is Hamilton County down near Cincinnati, which is a county we've been looking at all year long. That's a county that Barack Obama won last year, but hadn't been won by a by a Democrat since 1964. So he won that county. It's been close all year. If he wins it, it'll probably be because he's managed to get big African-American turnout, and that's important. And by the same token, there are some counties along the northern tier, the other end of Ohio, that are in sort of auto country. And that's where the Obama bailout of GM and Chrysler seems to have held him in good stead. If he wins some of those key swing counties along the northern tier of Ohio, that'll be a sign that, in fact, the auto bailout and the message that President Obama has been delivering on that and that Mitt Romney's been trying to counter may have been decisive in Ohio.
Okay, well, we shall see soon enough, I think. Always a pleasure. Jerry Seib has been working non-stop on this. We appreciate it. And you can read Jerry Seib's column in tomorrow's Wall Street Journal or on WSJ.com if you cannot wait a moment longer. Well, for continuing coverage of the election, you will want to go to our election page coverage here at WSJ.com, and you will not want to miss that. And we've got primetime coverage starting tomorrow at 8 p.m. We'll be on a gazillion platforms, and we will have the best coverage in the entire universe here, so you will not want to miss that. That kicks off at 8 p.m. with Alan Murray hosting and a slew of guests. Do not miss that.